we are with Kimberly McAlindin. And Kimberly has a great message for people who are feeling anxious, and that anxiety is interfering in their day-to-day life. Sometimes people walk away feeling unfulfilled, and they feel like they hit a wall, and you feel that something is missing, and you don't know exactly. You can't put your finger on what it is, as well as unhappy, waking up, going to work, taking care of being with your family. You just have that feeling of unhappiness, and you don't even know why. A lot of times you have everything you want, you have achieved a lot of goals, you have a beautiful family, you have um, a life that you're proud of, you have a successful career, but still you feel that where's the happiness that I was looking for after I achieved all these goals? And another thing is, we go to the supermarket, we go to the stores, we interact with people. I don't know about you, but I do see and I notice that a lot of people I interact with, they're more stressed out than ever before. And a lot of times, again, they don't even know why they're so stressed out. A lot of times they know it's their weight, it's their relationships, it's their health, it's their children, but they don't know how to address those issues, and that end up taking over their life. So Kimberly is here because I love her mission. Kimberly has a mission to bring more joy to the world, and she is the founder of the JoyFul Heart Empowerment Center. And I wanted to welcome Kimberly. Welcome to our interview here, our business passion stories, and spending some time with us and sharing your expertise and a little bit about your mission of helping bring more joy to people's lives. So I would like to start with what inspired you to get out there. A lot of people don't do what you do, and sometimes they feel inspired, but they don't take the action and the steps to actually do what you're doing. So what inspired you to create the JoyFul Heart Empowerment Center?
Well, first, thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor to be here, and I'm excited to share my story with you. What inspired me to start the JoyFul Heart was a true need for bringing more happy into the world, or even into my immediate friends. I've always been known as the happy girl, and one of the reasons why I am so happy is because starting from a very young age, my mother always told us we can either choose to be happy or we can choose to not be happy. And so that stuck in my brain at a very young age. How are you going to choose how you feel in this situation? So she used to play this game when we would go out and about in town, and it was called the happy game. So whenever we went out in public, we would look at people in the eye and smile at them and see how many people we could get to smile back. So I loved the game. I was so into it. I'm one of 4 children. I was always the winner because it excited me to get that smile. That was my reward, was the smile back. Later on, when I was a teen, the smile game I kind of thought was dopey. And I remember saying to my mother, I probably was 13 or 14, like, oh my gosh, the smile game, are we really going to play that, Mom? And she looked me in the eyes and she took a breath and she said to me, Kimberly, it might be their only smile today. And that got me to thinking also at a very young age, how a lot of people don't live a happy life. That people come here and whatever their circumstances are, whether it be how they were raised or death or anything that happens, a bad job, you get fired, break up with a boyfriend, those are all situations in our lives where we can either choose to move on and be happy, or we can choose to not be happy and to experience our environment in ways that don't really serve your purpose, that don't serve you to be happy. So the Joyful Heart has been my vehicle to spread the joy.
Mm-hmm. So that explains the big smile on your headshot. And
I love that picture.
I have to ask you this. Do you teach your children, or do you play the smile game with your children?
So I have 3 children. My oldest is 19. He's a freshman in college. Then I have a high school senior. He's another boy. And then I have a 13-year-old daughter who's in 8th grade. My daughter, Marin, still plays the smile game. My boys did when they were young. Absolutely, I taught them how to play the smile game. And it also, when you think about it, if anybody here has small children, it teaches children to not be afraid to look somebody in the eye. So with social media today, and everything is done over text, mostly with teenagers these days, that human interaction of looking at somebody and sharing energy and sharing space is kind of lost, which is, takes us into, why are you not feeling fulfilled?
Right. That makes sense. So your life growing up has been preparing you to do what you do today. How else did you prepare yourself to do what you do today?
Well, I was always very creative. I was always creating. When I was having my children, I was a stay-at-home mom, but I also was a pattern designer. So I created garments out of knitting and crochet, and I would write the patterns for that and share them up for books and websites and pattern labels and things like that. So I was always doing something that made me happy. So a lot of times I say to my clients that come in, name 3 things that make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually hear silence.
Oh, wow.
And so I think to myself, how in the world do you not know one thing that makes you happy? Walking outside? Do you like to swim? And then I start pulling things out of them. And when they can't think of something, one thing I do say is, think about when you were a child. Like, what's a happy memory when you're a child? Because that's the time for a lot of us when there were happy times and they can remember, like, oh, I used to like to hike, or I like to pet my dog, or whatever it is. So I have always done things that make me happy. Can I give a quick example of what happened? So I just had a death in my family. My uncle passed away, and he was sick for but it was very shocking that he passed so quickly. And we weren't really prepared. You would think in my business as a medium, I'd be prepared for this, but nope, life happens for all of us. So I was very sad. I posted it, and I received so much love on social media. But one thing that I did was I thought about my uncle. He had the most gigantic hands of any person I've ever seen. He was gigantic. He was a gentle giant, and his hands were just huge. And so with creating and being crafty that I am, I decided to be thankful that he had a short illness, that he wasn't sick for a long time. And I chose to think of him and do something with my hands and appreciate him. And what that did was made me happy. So I found something that I love to do in my life, and I brought my uncle into it. Actually, it turned out to be spinning. I make yarn. So I was using my hands and thinking of my uncle and wishing him well on the next stage of his journey. So that's the way that I interpret the world. That's the way that I bring joy. And, at this service, I was sad, of course.
Right.
He should be sad. I loved him. But I also was happy at the same time.
So that people, a lot of people, it's almost like it's mandatory to feel sad. What
Yes.
you're saying to us is that you can be both. And what I love most is honoring his life by
Mm-hmm.
you doing something joyful,
Mm-hmm.
honor, honoring how you feel, and not just letting yourself be down because of what happened, but to bring joy, to find ways. Literally is a choice. What I have learned so far from
Mm-hmm.
what you have to share is that joy and happiness is a choice. And there are times where we're going to be challenged, and still we can choose to be joyful in honor of people that we love in our lives, and still find holding into to joy to keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit more about your professional background.
Well, I graduated college a long time ago with a degree in psychology. I never used it, but I guess I kind of use it now, right? Like
Right.
my whole life really has got me set up for here. So I did work on interpersonal relationships and things like that in college. Um, but so I did that, and so I am a certified Reiki master.
Mhm.
Reiki is a Japanese form of energy healing. It promotes relaxation. The Japanese believe that a relaxed body is a healing body, and you can be healing from anything, healing from stress, healing from worry, healing from self-hate and self-doubt. So the relaxation in the Reiki technique, and I kind of inject you with a bunch of my joy as well while
Right.
you're on my table, uh, you know, so I'm certified as a Reiki master. I also am a certified ethical psychic medium. I am a medium. I am able to connect with loved ones on the other side. And sometimes they come through during my Reiki sessions. And a lot of times when that happens, it is an issue that the person needs to resolve in order to move on. So it could be guilt. Guilt is a big one. We're women, right? We actually specialize in it. I like to say. I did have a client who came in. She was having, pain in her lungs, and it turns out that her father had passed, and he came through, and he kept asking for forgiveness, and she kept telling me, I don't have to forgive him. He was a great dad. He did everything for me. I have no idea why he would be saying this. And he kept saying over and over, forgive me, forgive me. So I continued with the Reiki, and a little bit later on, she started getting a little stressed again because she had to pick up her mother. And it turned out that her mother suffered from a mental illness. And so my question to the client was, perhaps does your father want you to forgive him for leaving because he used to take care of your mother, and now you're responsible for it?
Right.
And that kind of opened up the floodgates for her. Just bringing it up, she kind of started thinking like, oh my gosh, yes, maybe this is. So that's one of the examples of the way that, that Reiki works in my practice.
Right. That's phenomenal. And there's one thing um, you have mentioned to me before. What is the first thing, the first message
Uh,
that someone have for their loved ones, um, that you have noticed that there is a pattern?
there is a
What is
pattern.
the first message that?
The first message always is, I love you. Please tell so and so I love them. It's the first message. Whether you had a wonderful relationship in on this plane or you didn't, the first message always is, I love you. and it chokes me up every time, because a lot of times when I say it to people, they get very emotional, because that person that had crossed over didn't really say it when they were here. And then there are some people that said it so much that it didn't feel special, if
Right.
that makes sense.
Right.
So, yeah, love, it makes the world go round.
That's phenomenal.
It's the key to happiness, actually. It's the key to my
Right.
joy, anyway.
Right. So this goes with my next question is why is like a huge number of people are so stressed out, unfulfilled, and unhappy. That's seems like how people are walking around these days. Why do you feel there's a huge number of people feeling that way?
I feel that today, in today's world, and especially I'm talking about 35 to ahead, because the younger generation is figuring it out much quicker than we are, is that we're not here to come and buy a house and have jobs, go to school, get married, buy a house, have all these bills, keep up with the Joneses, and then post on social media how great our life is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're really here to experiences and have connections with people. The people that have connections with people, and they don't have to be like, I'm not everybody's best friend, but I do have very solid connections with people,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoy people. So we're really here to do that. And we've forgotten why we're here. We've forgotten, we think that we have to drive a Lamborghini in order to be successful, when my daughter planted little seedlings, and they've come out of the from seed, and man, I said to her, Marin, you're so successful, that is amazing.
Right.
So we're getting the little wonderful things. So people are stressed because they're forgetting to enjoy things. It's almost like, let's get to the next thing. Okay, I finished college, let's get to the next thing. How about we enjoy college? How about you enjoy graduating? How about you are proud of yourself? We are very hard on ourselves.
Right. A lot of people are skipping the savoring the moment, right?
Yes.
To savor that moment. I know
Exactly.
that motherhood for me is something that I savor since the day Melissa was born. So that is important to remember. Let's say outside, we're told that the Lamborghini, the career, the diploma is what is going to bring us happiness. But in reality, it's connections and finding joy and savoring the moments in our lives. So for people who are highly stressed now, I know that you talk about what is the difference between stress and anxiety. So what people need to know about that?
So stress, we know what stress is. It's the traffic, it's work, it's homework for my kids is a very stressful thing. It's weight loss, it's I'm not this, I'm not that. Those are stressors in our world. Those are things that we are worried about.
Right.
Anxiety is the effect of what worry and stress does to us. So you can be worried about homework. I'm going to use this example. You can be worried about homework. I'm worried about getting my homework done. I'm worried about getting my homework done. Now, oh my gosh, I only have 5 minutes left, 5 hours until I have to go to sleep. I'm going to get my homework done. And this whole story runs around in your head until the anxiety kicks in that now you can't go to school. So I can't go to school because I didn't get my homework done. Mm-hmm. So instead of being in the moment, savoring the moment, being in your body, and actually allowing yourself the time it takes to get your homework done, and then you wouldn't have the anxiety. But we go right to anxiety. So anxiety steals your joy. Anxiety makes it impossible for you to function. There are people that don't leave their homes because of anxiety.
Right.
And so that's the difference. The stress is what it is that is causing the anxiety.
Anxiety. So anxiety would be like the next level. And what is your number one recommendation to for people who need to calm themselves down, who are in that stress, anxiety zone, and they feel like it's out of handle right now. It's hard to even think straight, to
Right.
even. So, what is your number one recommendation to help people who are like that to calm themselves down?
So just to share a little personal history, I do have a child that suffers from severe anxiety. And so we do what's called the 1-2-3 reset. And everybody can do it. We can practice now if we want.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do is, it's very quick, and you're going to actually breathe and touch parts of your body to remind yourself to come back into your body, to come back into the moment, so that you can then take the next step. So in our house, we call it 1-2-3 reset, or if it's starting to get to me, I'll say reset. And what you're going to do is you're going to take one hand, it doesn't matter which one it is, and you're going to put it over your heart.
Okay.
You're going to take your other hand and you're going to put it right on where your rib cage ends, right up underneath. Underneath your bra line, ladies. And that's, and Reiki, that actually is where your soul resides. So what I'm actually doing is connecting your heart and your soul together, right? So we're connecting them. And what you're going to do is take 3 deep breaths. And when you take a deep breath, you're going to take the breath from your stomach, not from your chest. So ladies, it isn't pretty because your stomach's going to go out, but it's going to serve its purpose. So, excuse me. So we're going to put our hands there. I like to close my eyes because it kind of gets me back into where I am. And my child also does that. So, and I actually did it before this to get me back in my body. So here we go. We're going to close our eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So for those of you that suffer from road rage, you do it in your car before you drive. For those of you that are at your work and you have to go talk to your boss that really stinks, you're going to do that at your desk. You can do it in the bathroom, like pretend you're going to the bathroom and just sit on and do it there.
Okay.
But those are some things that's my number one tip for coming back into your body.
And calming yourself down.
Calming yourself down.
So now we're going since being in business can be stressful.
Yes.
I would like to hear from you. We have been working together. We have known each other for 5 years, I think, at least. Mm-hmm. But we've been working together for the past 5 months or so. And I would like to invite you to share with the people who are in business and they feel stressed out. You've been in business for 4 years now, so yes. You're not starting out. But what is something that was very challenging for you that you overcame?
Well, I overcame it with your help, actually, Simone. Mm-hmm. And it was just brilliance for me. So my biggest issue was, when do I separate the business from family, from alone time for me, so that I can fill myself up with the joy? How do I do that? And when you're starting out in business, I felt like I had to slave over, every client that wanted to come in at any time and any hours, and because I was building my business. And what I learned from Simone was the beauty of the calendar and the beauty between working in your business and working on your business, and that your business time and your family or alone time are just as important. They're both equally important. And so she took the guilt right away of me having to sacrifice my life for my business. And once the pressure was off, the people showed up when I had laid, down when I was going to work. So that was the price of admission right there.
Yes. It's the a mom's guilt, wife's guilt relationship. I heard this so many times. I had it myself. And one of the things I wanted to do was to build a business that supported my lifestyle, because my joy is my moment doing what I love professionally, but also spending time with my family. That is so joyful to me. It feeds my soul so much so that I can spend 12 hours in a cheerleading competition, screaming my head off, and I feel good, when I leave there. So the work-life balance is very important for our success, for true success, not just getting the business, but a business that fulfill and feeds your life and your health and your well-being. And with that said, let's talk a little bit about your biggest challenge right now. We're still working on a lot of things. We just got started. 4 months is like crawling in the business world. So what is your biggest challenge right now that you'd like a little support around that, extra support?
So my biggest challenge right now is I have so many stories and experiences that have happened for me that I would love to write a book. But when it comes time to sit and actually write, I procrastinate. It's like all the laundry in my house gets done. Everything is clean instead of taking the time. And I've reset, friends. I've tried. Sit down and do it. But I just have this procrastinating about writing.
Right. Procrastination in business is a big thing, right? So it's one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, practitioners, service providers, we have this fight. It's a push and pull. I want to do this. I wanted to create this, but I will find anything and everything to distract me from doing that. And then we label that as being procrastination. You have a comment here. Write it. I will read it.
Thank you.
From Susan. Thank you, Susan. She's going to write. I'll make sure that happens. So the procrastination label doesn't go well with the mission of the purpose and the mission of what we have to do here. So there are 2 things I recommend. One is to, instead of describing ourselves as a procrastinator, that is something that we don't want, right? So the mindset shift would be, how can I become unstoppable? It's totally changing the focus from I am a procrastinator to I am unstoppable. Or asking yourself, how can I become unstoppable in my business? That is the number one, going towards a new mindset instead of trying to eliminate what's not working. That's one of the ways we create, and we create faster. The second thing I like to recommend is to have your business purpose. the reason why you're, getting off the bed every morning, and why you have your business. Why do you have a office, or why do you have, why do you do what you do? That, um, our mind, our spirit, right? Our soul likes to have a purpose. And I like to recommend my clients to set your business purpose that goes more or less like this. Um, who is out there that blank need, then insert your services. In your case would be, who is out there that is walking around stressed out, unfulfilled, and unhappy, that I can help with the skills that I have? Who can I help be more joyful today? And that is a, like, it pulls you, and that part of that joy of, I'm getting up today because what I do is going to bring joy to more people. So having your business purpose is essential, and have it in a way, in a place that you can see. I usually recommend for my clients to put on a picture frame and leave right at their desk. And right there, you know why you're doing what you're doing. And not doing that is not bringing more happiness and joy to the world. So, and how does that make you feel? If it makes you feel fine, fine. But if you're like, I really, it brings me joy to see more people being joyful, and the impact that they can have in their lives and the people around them. Have your business purpose and focus your mindset on being unstoppable instead of not being a procrastinator anymore. Those two things. Yes. So with that said, what is, how do you see yourself now when that comes up for you to write your book, and the stopping coming up? What do you see yourself doing right now to support you to go for it?
I am going to find, on some place on social media, a really cool thing that says I'm unstoppable. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It kind of gives me butterflies in my stomach when I hear I'm unstoppable. And it gets me excited. Even when I heard Susan's comment, saying to write the book, that gets me excited, because the self-doubt always kind of creeps in a little bit, like, really, who wants to read my story? But I think it's exciting. I'm excited. I'm going to go get a picture frame.
Exactly. Yes. And for people who are watching this, I'm sure they're stressed out about that as well. Procrastination kicking in. You also can use, for your own benefit, focus on being unstoppable in everything you do in your business, and also have your business purpose. Who is out there that is ready for, insert the benefit of what you have to offer that I can help with? Who wants more joy? Who wants more, be healthier? Who wants a better relationship that I can help with the skills that I have? So that would be a good anchor for your business, having a business purpose, a good anchor for the actions you need to take as you go. I wanted to thank you, Kimberly, for your wisdom and your joy, bringing your joy and your beautiful big smile to this interview. Thank you for the value of the strategies you shared. And thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, Simone. Bye, everybody.
How can people, before you go, how can people find you? And do you work just locally? Do you work long distance? And how can they find you?
Right now I'm in my office, which is in Fanwood, New Jersey, in Union County. I do have distance Reiki available, so you don't have to be with me. I do mediumship readings over the phone, or I do have a Zoom line where we can do that. I have international clients actually that I use my Zoom line. And if you wanted to send me a message on Facebook, the Joyful Heart Empowerment Center, you can just type in the Joyful Heart NJ, and that'll bring you right to my page.
Perfect. Beautiful. Thank you so much again, Kimberly.